Chair recognizes Representative Domb of Amherst.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for your leadership and for your commitment to take timely action on behalf of our Commonwealth, and for providing this chamber with this amazing opportunity to voice our strong support for all reproductive health care in Massachusetts, including abortion care, birth control, and gender-affirming care. Mr. Speaker and my esteemed colleagues, it is with a great sense of relief, hope, and pride that I rise today to express my wholehearted support for H4930, an act to expand protections for reproductive rights. I want to express my gratitude to the gentleman from the North End, who is a champion for reproductive health services and the organizations that deliver them. I also want to share my deep appreciation to the gentleman from Stoneham, who, in the wake of several recent horrible Supreme Court decisions that threaten Massachusetts law, has acted swiftly with this extraordinary and meaningful legislation before us. And I want to thank the gentlewoman from Cambridge for her passion and vigilance. I very much want to thank the residents of the 3rd Hampshire District, who trust me to represent them in this body and who have given me the privilege to speak with you today and the honor to vote for this bill. I want to thank the abortion funds in Massachusetts for building a network of safe services and resources to support pregnant persons, and thank the abortion providers and the people who work in clinics throughout our state. My predecessor, the Honorable Ellen Story, served with distinction in this chamber for 25 years. She was and is a champion for reproductive rights and abortion access. I stand here today in large part due to her legacy of fierce representation. At the moment, following my colleagues this afternoon, I am also moved by their comments, their strength, their power, their compassion, and their commitment. Mr. Speaker, last Friday, the Supreme Court released rulings that overturned 50 years of law, and in doing so, created a public health emergency and a human rights crisis for our country and potentially for our Commonwealth. A crisis that the dissent described as resulting in, quote, the curtailment of women's rights and of their status as free and equal citizens, unquote. We live in serious and perilous times. In the aftermath of these rulings, we witnessed heartbreaking scenes of women in states where abortion bans went into immediate effect being denied care. For many, the fundamental and essential right to determine their reproductive future was extinguished, thrown away in a trash can from 18th century America. I'm so proud that the bill before us embraces Massachusetts' role as a safe haven for delivering and receiving contraceptive services, abortion care, reproductive health care, and gender-affirming health care, and that it protects providers and patients, their families, and their parents. Once again, as it's been noted this afternoon, Massachusetts will be a beacon, a sanctuary, and today, with this bill, we take the first steps to protect this reality in a post-Roe America. In 1973, I was 14 years old, listening to albums like Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions and Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road in my home in New Jersey. As a teen, I recall hearing from a close family friend who was an OBGYN practicing in New York City about the difficulties, especially for his out-of-state patients, as they struggled to get access to the abortion care they needed. In 1973, a wiser, more compassionate, smarter, Supreme Court declared a time for progress in America. Last week's Supreme Court decision tries to turn back the clock, but we won't go back. Our constituents are angry and worried for themselves, their children, their neighbors, and our country. They understand what's at stake. And make no mistake, eliminating abortion care and access is the beginning of efforts to deny all of us the ability to make our most personal and private decisions, whether to access and use birth control, who and how we choose to love and to marry, the right to seek and obtain the health care that serves our and our children's authentic selves without fear of criminal prosecution, and the ability to decide if and when we become parents. I received this note from a constituent this weekend. She wrote, quote, "The end of abortion care impacts people of all genders and all walks of life. The lack of care, however, disproportionately harms those living in poverty, young children, and communities of color. And it impacts families, worried parents, worried partners. We are all living in a world that is much less safe." I understand that fear, Mr. Speaker. I share it on behalf of my 2 adult daughters, my Commonwealth, and my country. Honored colleagues, I share this saying with you from the Jewish faith as it seems appropriate for our time. It says, and I quote, "The world is a narrow bridge, and the main thing is not to be afraid." Thank you to the gentleman from Stoneham, the gentleman from the North End, and to you, Mr. Speaker, and your teams for bringing forward a bill so quickly that makes us less afraid. But more than that, so much more than that, this bill, in all of its glorious provisions, offers hope. My friends, the Supreme Court decision has given us an opportunity and an obligation. It is my honor to join with you today to support this life-saving legislation to expand and protect reproductive rights and gender-affirming health care for all people in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I respectfully urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
The chair would like to congratulate the lady on making her inaugural speech.